Writing fiction is keeping me sane.
Yeah.
I actually started writing fiction because my imagination was running away with me, and I
Hmm.
had all these stories in my head and all these characters. It was getting very, very crowded
Very
and
noisy. Yeah.
quite distracting. And so, in a way, it clears my mind, and it's also just a lot of fun, especially since I do humor. I spend a lot of time laughing, and not because, oh, I'm such a funny person, but because my characters are funny. I'm a character driven writer. So really sometimes I'm not in control. They just do their stuff and amuse me to no end. So it's good for my mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for those who want to get a little bit more about that, about humor and all, we've recently chatted with you for the Legend Haven convention that we hosted over a month ago now. So if people want to go into a little more depth, how you do humor and so on, and talk about some of the novels, we've had you on several times on the channels, and now you've opted to join us as a mentor in the Legend Fiction community. So I'd like to first of all ask you, what's your take on the Legend Fiction community? Like, why do you think it should be around? Why are you hanging around?
I'm just finding a lot of great people there. As a community as a whole, I think that it fills a niche where people, especially people who are fiction minded and faithful to the Catholic faith, can find an outlet and a supportive group of like minded folks. Now, I'm a member of the Catholic Writers Guild, and we do something similar, but we also have the nonfiction folks along with um, the fiction of all kinds, from literary to sci-fi fantasy. And so this is just a little bit narrower, and I feel like it's very complementary.
Hmm.
And I gotta say, my favorite thing that Legend has done though is the morning write write-ups where we meet up and
Oh,
write.
hmm.
My productivity is so much stronger because of that. Even in my fiction, especially in my fiction, because I'm more prone to say, oh, I'm just going to get my work done and then go take care of the house and ignore my fiction until I have a little bit of time. But usually, not always, usually, I can tell myself I need to at least give an hour of that writing time to whatever story I'm working on. So,
Yeah, we keep adding them because people keep, of course, show up in different time zones and so on. It was enormously helpful for me.
mm,
Well, a year ago, back when I was kicking around a different book I was writing. So, as a mentor, usually what mentors do is they pay attention to the community. They're a little bit like moderators, like den mothers. Some of them guys don't. Actually don't have any mentor guys at this time, really. So you're there, especially when I'm not there, as the founder, but more importantly, you provide attention or services to the authors and so on. So, what are you looking forward to doing? What's your scope of involvement with the community, and what can people look forward to from you as a mentor?
I've been very active in that morning group, leading people,
Hmm.
making sure that we hop off and come back on and that everybody gets a chance to talk. And the nice thing about that group is not just that we get in there and say, okay, in the next half hour, I'm going to write 500 words or whatever. But sometimes we can come in and say, I'm really having this issue,
Yep.
and we can talk to each other. And I feel like that's where I've been able to make a big impact because I do have 20 years of experience in all of this. So, and I know a lot of people in the writing field. So sometimes somebody will say something and I'll say, have you considered this? Or have you looked at this person? Or I know somebody else who's had a similar issue and this is what they've done. And so I love when I can kind of help pass on knowledge, not necessarily of my own, but things that I have learned from others that have been useful,
Hmm.
and we can kind of share the love that way. I'm hoping if my life ever slows down, to spend a little more time working on doing that same kind of thing in the forums. But I will say, if anybody needs help, they are welcome to reach out to me in the private chat, and I do check it every morning.
Hmm.
I try to go through the forums too, but like I said, right now the fastest way is private chat, and I do like the one-on-one interaction.
Hmm. I think it ends up working out really well. You having a focus on the daily morning write-ins, but then there are other mentors who prefer and excel at doing other things. Another is just more present in the chats or helping with book clubs and get-togethers,
Mm-hmm.
and another one focuses more on um, book editing and consulting and so on. And so it's valuable, I think, to have a variety of different mentors doing a variety of different things and creating that um, creating a haven for people to keep writing. Um,
Yeah, we all have our own talents, and it's like it says in Corinthians, you have the body, and the hand does one thing, and the foot does another, and the ear does another. So
mhm.
we're creating a body.
um, how can people find you online if they want to check out more about you? And let's go with there. Where can people find you online to learn more about what you're doing?
Website's easiest. That's karinafabian.com or fabianspace.com. Either one will get you there.
Hmm.
You can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as Karina Fabian. I don't Twitter anymore. I never got a hang of the platform.
Hmm.
And those are your best bets. On Fabian Space, you can also find my books, or you can just go to Amazon and type in my name, and most of my books will show up.
Fantastic. And so, last question for you as a mentor, somebody, as you said, you've got the 20 years of experience, which is really valuable for a young writer to
Mhm.
be able to kind of sit in the same virtual room. I wish I'd had that 15 years ago before Zoom was a thing. Yeah. Um, what would be a piece of advice you'd like to offer to authors when it comes to just writing, or in general, or in particular, writing fiction and so on? What would be your top recommendation for them?
Oh, just start writing.
Hmm.
Butt in chair, hand on keyboard. You're not going anywhere unless you've got the words down.
Hmm.
The rest of it, you learn, and sometimes you can read about it. Sometimes you'll learn from other people. Sometimes it's simple trial and error. And don't be afraid to try things. One of the things that I think that I did not do well in my career was to try and really throw myself into some of the newer trends. Like, I was around when newsletters first started. Did I jump in there? No, I was like, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't do it. When Facebook and Instagram and those all started, did I jump right in? No, I took my own sweet time, and I ended up behind the curve. So if you can find a place that looks like it's going somewhere and make it yours,
Hmm.
it gives you an edge.
Fascinating. That is such a. I need to start asking that question more often to people. What's something that you did wrong? Coming. Oh, so okay. Let me throw back at you just for a second as we close out. If you don't jump in, like for example, TikTok, I did not get into it at all. I'm not sure that I ever will, but let's say that I were. I wonder if delaying getting into something gives you the benefit of learning from the mistakes of others or identifying where a platform actually goes, because its focus can shift and evolve. I get there's the whole first to the table thing, and if you can move really fast, but if you're not sure, um, like
Mm.
if you were to go back and to give yourself your own advice, would you recommend getting involved in almost every platform and trying that
No, I would have picked a couple
out? Okay.
and dedicated a lot more strongly to them. I would have picked newsletters, and which I'm doing now, but it's now there's so many newsletters out there
Yeah.
that I didn't build that audience back when it was unique. And I think I would have done more with Instagram. Although I say that, and even now I'm like, what would I have done with Instagram? I'm not a visual person,
Yeah.
but there's definitely a balance. And you have to know what your own time is. But I think some people don't get into them because they're afraid, or like I said, with me, it was like, oh, I don't even have time. I'm not going to worry about it. It's like, no, take a little time and worry about it.
Mhm.
Do that little bit of research and then think, is this something that's going to help me? Or
Yeah.
is it something that it's worth putting in a couple of hours a week to see
Mhm.
and then just do it?
Yeah, and there's the question: is it going to work for me? I was just listening to a podcast the other day of an author who loved to write, but wasn't really interested in getting it published or getting in front of a ton of people. She wrote for her little critique group, but she wanted
Mhm.
to write commercial grade fiction, but just for her little critique group, and wasn't
Right.
interested in any other growth. So, if growth or reaching an audience or growing that audience does matter to you, then you do need to pay attention, make friends, collaborate, get on a platform,
Yes.
and start creating that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or keep an eye on those who are, so that you can tap into what they're doing later on, which is, well, one of the benefits of a publisher, I suppose. But Karina, thanks for jumping on. For
Well,
those
thank
who are
you.
already part of the community, you can look forward to meeting Karina almost every morning. When she's not available, you can just jump in and still keep using that morning chat. But that's her little piece of the pie, where she spends her time. And we get comments on that event like almost every day when I log in.
Mhm.
People say, "Oh, I can't make it. I miss you guys. Catch you tomorrow," or "I'm making progress," or something. And that's just fantastic. So
Yeah, it is nice. We're really starting to form a close group there. So
fantastic.
there's plenty of room for more. So please come.
So there you go, friends. Karina is a mentor for Legend Fiction. It's Legend Fiction. It's our writing community for Catholic and Orthodox fiction authors, mostly fantasy and sci-fi. A place where you can give and get feedback, share your works in progress, and maybe double or triple your writing output, which has worked for me too because I'm a terrible procrastinator. Um, Mostly just because we're having so much fun and just being around people who want the same sorts of things and who are creating their own worlds and writing their own things. Gosh, it makes all the difference. So come and check it out, and maybe you'll meet Karina in there.
Bye.